We're in for a wild night.
Welcome everybody to episode 89 of Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I'm your host as always, Nate Wolf. It is great to be back after our long holiday hiatus, and it is a beautiful but cold winter evening here in Portland, Oregon, but I'm really excited to be back. We have a really great show for you tonight, and of course, I've missed my wonderful co-hosts over here. So welcome back, Hydra. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome. I missed you guys too. It's been a bit of a break, but I'm super happy to be back. I'm coming at you guys from the Greater Vancouver area, where it's also wintry. We've had a ridiculous amount of snow fall on us. People have been crashing their cars on the way to work, and there's just snow everywhere. It's been a mess, but I'm just stoked that we're back here on a Friday night doing our thing.
Awesome. And of course, our good friend Electric Sheep City. Welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. What is this Sanao that you speak of? Well, yeah, here in Southeast Texas, I've been dealing with a lot of allergies because pollen is everywhere, and it is, a little while ago we had like a brief freeze, and now it's just like hot again. Like only 70s, 80s.
When you say freeze, how close to freezing was it?
It was, in the upper 20s, lower 30s. So it was not a hard freeze, but it froze for like a night.
Wow. I was gonna say, hey, when there's a fire and then the ashes kind of rain down from the sky, it's kind of like that, except it's cold. It's
yeah, we got a little residual coldness coming our way, and yeah, then that passed pretty quick. So, but so excited to be joining us this evening for a great time going over the past year in Hearthstone. So, for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. I'm going to briefly explain how the show works. We record the podcast live every Friday evening at www.twitch.tv/borntobewildhs, and the video version of the podcast is then posted to YouTube the very next day. Audio versions are then distributed to all podcast apps as well. However, you're watching or listening to this podcast or absorbing it via osmosis, thank you. Yes, you.
Yeah, thank you all so much. And yeah, I'm very excited to be back for our first show of 2022. Still not quite used to saying that, but I'm excited to take a look back tonight. Before we get into the main topic of the show, wanted to say a big, quick but giant thank you to Shokunin and to the other patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe on YouTube. Comment if you'd like. That helps us a ton in terms of getting more views and stuff like that. Another way to support the show is to leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, or whatever podcast platform of choice, as that helps other people find our show. If you are watching live on Twitch, we do have some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing, which you can do for free with Amazon Prime. Finally, you can find our Patreon for some great bonus content for as little as $1 a month. We will be adding some free content as we go along. We've had some already and we'll continue to do so into the new year. Lastly, if you're interested in interacting with any of us personally, we do have a Discord, which is a free and really fun online community of friends that we've made all across the world, and have an absolute blast there just chatting about Hearthstone and real life and memes and sharing deck codes and all that other stuff, and it's an absolute blast. Links to all of this stuff can be found on our website, which is www.borntobewildhs.com. Okay, that's it. I'm going to pass the mic over to Hydra briefly to jump into the news. I know there's not much, but yeah. What do we got?
Yeah, so we've taken the past couple weeks off recording over the holidays. There's been a few things here and there. There's been a couple nerfs that have already come and gone. We're not going to spend any time discussing these as it's already come and gone. However, there is a new tempo meta snapshot for Wild available as of January 3rd. So Tempo Storm has put that out. If you guys are looking to find the best competitive decks to play on the Wild ladder, we definitely suggest that you go check it out. The descriptions of the decks are there, how to play them, the codes for them. It's all there for you. We can post the link in the show notes and in the Discord, and give that a look if you're seeing what you want to play competitively in Wild. We do have a pretty lengthy discussion planned for tonight, so let's move on to our main topic.
Yeah, okay, I'm excited. I think this will be a lot of fun. So tonight's main topic, we are going to talk about the best of 2021. And so while I'm not necessarily someone who likes to make New Year's resolutions, I do like to take a look back and kind of reflect on the past. And so this is a fun opportunity to do just that. So we're going back and looking at the past year, calendar year of Hearthstone, and giving our thoughts on what we thought were the best on a number of different categories. So briefly we're covering 9 different topics tonight. I'm going to run through those really quickly, and then we'll kind of handle them one by one. So here's what we'll be discussing tonight. Number 1, what is the best new deck or archetype to be released in 2021? What is the best old deck or archetype to get updated with new cards that were released in 2021? What is the best individual card to be released in 2021? What is the best new Hearthstone feature or content to be released in 2021? What is the craziest thing to happen in Wild Hearthstone in 2021? And then the next are kind of more subjective. So what is the best hero portrait released in 2021? What is the best card back released in 2021? And then the final 2 are kind of accomplishment based. So what is your best personal Hearthstone accomplishment from 2021? And finally, what is your personal Hearthstone goal for 2022? So it's a lot of stuff, but I think that we can kind of jam through it. Before we get into each of our individual picks for these categories, I did want to go over the sets that did come out last year. I had to look at it myself because, especially as a predominantly Wild player, it's like we forget as these sets come through. It's like, well, they're all Wild, everything counts, and I never consider what's in what year or whatever it is. And so I had to Google my way through this, but here is what came out over the past year that we took into consideration. So March 30th of 2021, Forged in the Barrens came out, but also the core set was released that day as well. And so we've got that content. June 3rd, 2021, the Wailing Caverns mini set was released. August 3rd, 2021, United and Stormwind came out, and then November 2nd, 2021, the Dead Minds mini set, and finally December 7th, 2021, Fractured in Alterac Valley. So
and that's a big list. I forgot with all the mini sets and everything. It's so much more stuff that we see now.
Right, it's a
really
lot of
pads
stuff.
it out.
And when we start, especially like when we started going through the card backs and the hero portraits, like I swear I missed some. The card backs, I think I got most of them. I might have missed 1 or 2. In terms of the hero portraits, like they released like 100 this year, and like don't even know. It was like, well,
It was wild.
Yeah, it was crazy. But anyways, and so we also did a survey through Google Forms that a bunch of people filled out, and that was kind of fun to see what others thought as well. And in the future, I think we'll be looking to make some additional, like some more content like that. Maybe there's better ways to do it. It was really difficult. I think if you do multiple choice, the results are a lot cleaner, but we didn't want to plant ideas in people's heads. We wanted to see what other people thought were the best things. And so the results are kind of a big like scatter all over the place of lots of things. Anyways, in the immortal words of Leroy Jenkins, time's up. Let's do this. So first one up is, all right, what is the best new deck or archetype to be released in 2021? And by the way, for each of these, like, if we can only pick what is the our personal favorite, like best thing, we've got some runner-up options as well. If you all agree, disagree, let us know. Type in the chat here on Twitch, or if you're watching on YouTube, put it in the comments, or reach out on Discord. I'm really curious to see what other people thought as well, and it's always fun to kind of interact. Anyhow, all right, for me, I think I have to go with the new Odd Questline Hunter here for the best new archetype of 2021. when we talk about wild Hearthstone and Hunter, like Hunter was all but dead. Unless you look at like achievement decks, meme decks, like the fun but non-competitive Reno Hunter decks. Hunter was just totally gone. And so the quest line, Defend the Dwarven Districts, completely revitalized Hunter for wild, to the point that it's now a tier 1 deck that everybody hates, and and it's like begging to nerf or ban or whatever. For me personally, like I've hit legend with it a couple of times. I played a ton of it. I really enjoy it. There's some nuance to it, and it's been a blast. That is my top pick for the best new deck or archetype of 2021 is the return of Hunter via Odd Questline Hunter. In terms of runner-ups, I had a couple. I think for me the first one was like the Questline or Demon Seed Warlock. I think that it feels like a solid choice. Like this was so good that it got banned. I played it a little bit personally. I never really enjoyed it very much. I felt like the questline was so easy to complete that it almost felt like cheating. You could complete it so fast, and the deck was, it dominated ladder to the point that it was broken. And so, but it was also gone very quickly. And so it was like, eh. The other one that is a big one for me, I think, is Ignite Mage. That basically does what Exodia Mage did, but faster and more efficiently. It's a little bit different. The OTK combo is more reliant on APM or cheating, one or the other. But yeah, I was gonna say. I'm looking at my notes here. You either need to have zoomer speed, which I don't have, or you need to cheat by disabling animations, which I don't do. Either way, the deck's really good and infuriating to play against. These type of OTK mage decks have been around for a long time, but this one is so much faster than any one that we've ever seen in the past. It's a whole bunch of friends have hit legend with it already this month, and anyhow, so those are my picks. Hydra, what do you think?
For my winner, I went with Seedlock, mostly not because it's my favorite deck, but because in my opinion, it was the best deck to actually have its cards banned, right? Like this deck took the meta by storm so much that we were looking on Twitter, and a lot of our friends, our fellow Wild players, were stating they were quitting the game because that so many people were playing this deck, and it wasn't that difficult to play. This wasn't like a patron warrior in my opinion, but it took the ladder by storm, and it was very annoying. And there was a point where the three of us, we would compare the percentage of games that were played against it, and it was between like 40 to 60% of our games were played against this.
I remember pulling up the little pie charts and just being floored at seeing nearly 50% Warlock. Yeah.
It was glorious as an aggro druid player.
Yeah, so that's definitely my top pick. And for a runner-up, I chose Odd Questline Hunter, based solely on Hunter has never actually been competitive and wild. It's always been almost like a bit of a meme unless you're doing and you can actually win games with Hunter. And the fact that we got this new archetype and it's taken the ladder by storm now with other decks that are not in the limelight anymore, and this is now the one that people are raging about. I don't know, there's a lot. I don't know if it's just as high, but there's a lot, and it can get a little tiring to play against. But I do actually enjoy playing the mirror to see who can win. So that's for me. Sheep, what did you pick?
Yeah, so my winner has to be Free Shaman.
Yeah, all right.
I guess technically we had a Free Shaman before, but not really, right?
Not really.
So with the advent of spell schools and freezes that Shaman actually has access to, and more synergies than just Murabi, but actual synergies with you play a thing and it freezes things, and however many things get frozen, and there's just so many good synergies, and it's actually a strong deck. Right now it's a consensus tier 2, high tier 2. Was a consensus tier 1 just right after it came out, with it not being really existent before. Free Shaman has to be my winner pick. Runner-up, of course, Odd Questline Hunter. Seems obvious because it's currently one of the meta titans. But I mean, it was very much not an archetype before this year because there was no quest line and it revolves around that thing. And of course, runner-up number 2 for me is Questline Warlock. The only reason it isn't the winner for me, or like runner-up number 1, is because it was banned from the format so quickly. It was definitely the best of the 3, but it just isn't something that we had to deal with too long, and some of us actually liked playing against it because I could go under it rather than try and go over it. So that is my top 3 in order: Free Shaman, Odd Questline Hunter, and Questline Warlock.
Nice. And I will say, I've been playing mostly this Free Shaman the past couple of months, and it's definitely, I think, my favorite of them. You know, when we look at like what is the best, okay, but I've had so much more fun playing it because there's so many choices to make, and it just does all the things that I want to do. And so, and anytime there's a deck that hasn't been competitive in a long time and all of a sudden it's competitive again, it makes me so happy. So anyways, moving right along, next up we'll be discussing what is the best old deck or archetype to get updated with new cards in 2021 that were released in 2021. So for me, this has to be Pirate Warrior. Pirate Warrior, like, was the aggro king from way back when. I'll never forget the days of like watching Control the Board jam Pirate Warrior, you know, over and over and over and just go face all the time. And you know, sometimes he wins, sometimes he lose, but he would win a lot more than he'd lose. And so the deck has been around forever, but it had kind of lost popularity over time, as things do, especially when all the Reno decks were kind of king. You know, a lot of people were playing Reno Warlock, and then Raza got Unchained, and Reno Priest was tier 1 for quite a while, and Reno Priest would eat Pirate Warrior for breakfast, you know, or, you know, unless the Pirate Warrior could get under it fast enough.
Mutinous?
I don't think so.
But because it eats it? That's all I was referencing.
I was like, the joke. Anyways, so when United and Stormwind came out and released the quest lines, I sort of feel like they broke Hearthstone. I mean, I think it was just the craziest thing, making a lot of decks significantly more viable than they used to be. In Wild in particular, Warlock aside, I think the big ones definitely were our Warrior and Hunter. And Raid the Docks, like, single-handedly brought Pirate Warrior back from I don't know, wherever it was. I will say, I think what Pirate Warrior always lacked was any sort of in-game. You know, you had to win quickly or you weren't going to win. But after you complete the quest and you play the Juggernaut, it's basically an infinite value generator, because every turn you've got a weapon and a new pirate and the bombs. And it's just crazy now. So that's my pick, definitely is Pirate Warrior. For a runner-up, kind of echo what Sheep had said earlier and say Shutterwalk Shaman, just because these old lists, I felt like you'd always see people, you know, I think we see Boltzmann or Copa or somebody like running Shutterwalk Shaman because they're fun, but like how competitive were they? Not so much. And I remember like Dr. Evil hitting Legend with Reno Shutterwalk N'Zoth Shaman and be like, well, that's really cool. You know, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. But like, how viable is it? Not so much. And now it's like high tier 2. And so that has made a major comeback. And we saw, like, when we were assembling lists the first couple weeks of Fractured and Alterac, Shaman is the one archetype that got more play and more experimentation than like anything else, because there's so many different ways to kind of build it. And so, you know, those are my picks. I think a lot of different decks saw some new cards, and so it's difficult to pick just one and a runner-up. But these are the two for me. What do you think? What do you think, Hydra?
So I'm going to agree with you on your first pick. I am definitely picking Pirate Warrior because it just brought life to this old deck, like you said. It's something that I've always enjoyed, and suddenly there was a whole new way to play the deck. In general, you know, it's a aggro deck. Sometimes you trade, sometimes you go face, but it's different now. I needed to learn how to mulligan differently and just play the deck differently. I actually was against against this version of it originally. I thought that just the regular style of Pirate Warrior was going to be quicker, just because you're not wasting turn one, like how the Murloc Shaman quest was slow, right? And that's why people usually don't play that if they're playing Murloc Shaman. So I thought, screw it. I'm not going to run the quest. I'm just going to play regular old Pirate Warrior. Well, guess what? I was wrong.
You remember when all these quests came out and we kept thinking like, we don't have time to play quest on turn one. That's a turn one tempo loss. You can't, Wild's too fast for that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, how we were wrong.
Yeah, and
Hindsight is 2021.
I refused 2022. I refused.
Hindsight.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But yeah, so I refused to run it for a couple of weeks. I didn't even want to run the card in the deck, but I was definitely wrong, and I had to change my ways. But I just enjoy it, and I love the animation of the Juggernaut hopping onto the board, where it, like, swoops in and comes in like Free Willy. This is great. I almost got to hear the music when it's happening.
The Juggernaut is under my command.
That's so great.
And then as my runner-up, I'm going to go with Even Warlock, because it disappeared from the meta because what does it do? It damages itself, right? And what was really good at the time? Secret Mage. It was just going over the top and destroying it. So it became completely unplayable. And to see an old favorite come back like that, Secret Mage was kind of for the most part pushed out of the meta as a top tier deck because it was everywhere. And to make room for an old favorite like Evenlock, so Evenlock's my runner up.
That's a good choice. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So for me, the winner, of course, is also Pirate Warrior. I mean, I think that has to be kind of a consensus winner. It's the one that got the most support. Like, look at the pirates in it. There's so many pirates that just came out this past year. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. And of course, like the inevitability engine that Raid the Docks provides with the Juggernaut, just continuing to generate value and tempo and, I mean, face damage with the weapon that you get. Like, it's just incredible. So consensus, it's unanimous. All three of us, the winner there being Pirate Warrior. My runner-up, I went a little different, still a Warlock deck, but Cute Lock is the one that I went with. So Cute Lock, of course, has been a thing before this year. Oftentimes with things like Disciplinarian Gandling or things like that. This one has taken on a little bit of a different form in the most recent iteration. That is currently on top. Largely on the back of Frostwolf Warmaster, which I did not think was going to be as ubiquitous in that deck as it is, but that is one of the very few new cards in that, and it's just completely revitalized the archetype. So Cute Warlock has to be the runner-up for me.
That deck like runs away with games, and like even on my current climb this month, like you can clear the board over and over and over, and they'll refill their entire hand, dump it all on the board, buff it all up. It's like, oh my gosh, it's crazy fast, and I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, so what about the best card released in 2021, Nate?
Yeah, okay. And this is really subjective, okay? It's so hard to pick one. And so kind of asking myself, like, is it the best card in my opinion? Is it my favorite card? How does it work? For me personally, the best card released in 2021, I'm going to say Defend the Dwarven District. I think that the Hunter Quest that came out with United and Stormwind was just amazing. Odd Quest Hunter is crazy. The deck it's like a sheep had sent me a screenshot of our scores from the review show back then, and every single one of us gave it a 5 out of 5, just saying like, this is busted. And we all saw the potential. It's like when Reno Raza Priest was so good, pinging a bunch of damage for 0, and we thought, well, you could do it faster and more effective with Hunter. Yes, please. And the deck is just bananas. I think that and then even over the years, unless something changes or whatever, like heaven forbid Hunter gets some odd cost draw spells. Like, can you imagine?
Oh boy.
So I think that is my pick for the best card. And then again, for me, it's sort of, I guess, my theme for tonight. My runner up is Raid the Docks. I mean, I think that one card is the single reason that Pirate Warrior has made such a resurgence. Because now it has an endgame solution that didn't previously exist. If I had to sort of give an honorable mention, I think for me it's Mr. Smite. If you look at Standard, like, that card is in every deck. It's in hand buff. It's in all the rogue decks. It's in like everything, because you can. It's a bigger Leroy Jenkins. I mean, I will say what's infuriating. It's one of those rare occurrences that when it happens to you, it's amazing, and when your opponent does it to you, you just want to like launch your computer out the window. Is when the Juggernaut summons Mr. Smite, and then it's like, no.
Gosh, Mr. Smite or Defias Cannoneer, like, really, that's the other one that you're just like, well, all right, GG.
I will say, when the day that those cards came out, that they were from the Dead Mines, right? I snap crafted both of them in gold, dumped them in Pirate Warrior, hit Legend that day, and just sailed through, and like no regrets, no regrets. Those, get it? Ba-doom,
Yep.
The Juggernaut is under my command. All right, Hydra, what do you think?
So as my number one best card, I went with the Demon Seed, because I think sometimes we do forget how bad something really, really was, or good it really, really was. Yes, it is definitely in the past. Thank goodness.
We've blocked it out of our memory.
We've blocked it out of our memories. But I had this vision going back of looking at those pie charts and remembering how awful it was, and it was everywhere. And I remember being stubborn. I'm scrolling through Twitter and I'm seeing all the hate, right? And I'm like, oh, whatever, get over it. Like, it's wild. This stuff happens. And then it started to beat down on me, and I didn't want to play. And I'm like, no, I got to push past this. I always push past this. And then when it was even affecting me and I was getting frustrated, I knew that it had to go. So I think it was that toxic of a card, just because it was designed too good that, I don't know, like they couldn't even think of a way to nerf it. So they had to get rid of it. So that's my top pick.
I do think. Sorry, let me interrupt you 2 seconds. But what would really be interesting is, like, it's banned right now, but when the set rotates, like, then what? You know, I remember them mentioning, like, well, I guess we need to redesign it, maybe, and you know, what is that going to look like? Who knows? Maybe they'll just take the easy way out and just keep it banned. I wonder. Yeah,
because we've seen in the last while that they've been bringing back the nerfed cards, right? And then maybe unnerfing them, or, you know, meeting us halfway with the stats and abilities, but we don't know what they're going to do with the banned cards yet.
Yeah, we'll see.
So they mentioned something along the lines of redesigning, particularly the Demon Seed. So it's almost like whenever rotation comes, not this upcoming rotation, but the next one, we're going to get a new quest line.
Hey,
so that'll be really interesting to see what happens in 2023.
Yeah,
it'll be Warsong Commander.
I was going to say, take 8 damage on your turn. Your charged minions have +1 attack.
All of your demons have charge.
Oh my goodness, that'd be scary. Wow.
Someone will find a way to break it.
Wow. Yeah, and we all missed it. It was crazy. You know, I think Wild historically has been so fast. There were so many of us that when they announced the Demon Seed, were like, it's too slow. It's too slow. And again, you know, I never mind being proven wrong. It's always interesting to see other perspectives. And so this is just like Sheep said, hindsight is 2021. That's pretty funny. Hey, Hydra, what were your runner-ups?
So my runner-ups were Defend the Dwarven District and Raid the Docks, because when you go on the ladder now, these are the two cards that you are seeing being played on turn one over and over and over, and it's because they're good. They're both top tier decks, and not anybody, but they're decks that you can consistently go on and reach high ranks with right now, and you see them all over the place. So those two are my runner-ups. Nice. How about you, Sheep? What did you pick?
Yeah, so my winner, to the surprise of absolutely no one, is Defend the Dwarven District. I think that I had repressed the Demon Seed whenever I was covering this, so I did not include the Demon Seed there. It was banned from my rankings, so my winner was Defend the Dwarven District. Kind of hard to argue with it if you're overlooking the Demon Seed like I did. Established a brand new archetype, been ruling the meta. Like, it's just an all-around good card, and I think we're going to see it for years to come. And depending on how the meta like shifts around, I'm excited to see the different iterations that, you know, it has, and hopefully some other things kind of rise up to challenge it for its spot so that we see a more diversifying wild meta. If not, that's okay, because, I mean, wild is exactly that, wild. So we'll iterate on it as well. My runner-up is Dark Bishop Benedictus.
I like it.
So, yeah. Dark Bishop Benedictus also established a new archetype, making Shadow Priest a real thing. So actually being able to play aggro and hyper aggro in Priest? What? Did not think that I'd be able to do that thing, and now I have. So Dark Bishop Benedictus is honestly probably my favorite card of the past year, and that's saying a lot, because I would never have thought that it would have been a Priest card. That is one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I love it. I mean, I think anytime we get a new archetype in Wild, that's a awesome thing. It doesn't happen, especially historically. It happens so few and far between. I think it's been wonderful lately. Like, archetype is good, archetype is bad. Like, we've gotten so many new ones lately that it's just exciting. I totally forgot about this because I didn't play it a whole lot. But like, yeah, no, it's solid. This is a great choice. I love it.
I think we also need to remember that when Wild stays the same for so long, and then something new comes in and we're kind of hating on it, right? And saying like, oh, this thing's so annoying. It's like, well, what would be more annoying, the meta to be the exact same as it was 3-4 years ago, or for it to actually switch up?
Right.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
a good point.
So that is my runner-up. My second runner-up I kind of already touched on, which was Defias Cannoneer. The obvious card to discuss there is Raid the Docks. I knew that y'all would talk about it at some point, even just whenever I was writing my notes. So I was like, oh, I'll go with Defias Cannoneer there. Obviously, Mr. Smite gives things charge, but like Defias Cannoneer, yeah, that's my jam.
Defias Cannoneer is the only legendary that you could put 2 copies of in your deck.
Right. I remember whenever we were going over the new cards, Sunday and I like had an active disagreement about whether Defias Cannoneer would be good or not. And I was like, it's going to be insane. It's going to be broken. And
the card is great. The card is so good. Yeah.
I believe I was on the fence with the card. I didn't think it was going to be broken, but it is a lot better than I thought. And if they can't get rid of it, like, it's game over, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
So those are my picks for the best cards released in 2021.
Nice.
Nate,
yeah.
What is the best new Hearthstone feature or content that was released in 2021?
Okay, I love this question because it is, number one, it's super subjective. Okay, so this is just, we're now delving into the opinion zone, and I'm really curious to see what everyone else thinks here. And it was difficult because there was so much that was released this past year that it was difficult to choose. And so, like, I was like, my runner-up list kept growing and growing and growing. And so, like, if I So I've got a few runner-up things here, but I'm sure I've forgotten things or missed things, and I read y'all's responses and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that, I would have chosen that, but I don't want to spoil it. Anyways, so my pick, and maybe people disagree with me, but my pick for my favorite kind of new cool content thing to be released in this year was the addition of diamond cards. I just think that they're rad. I mean, I love how they're animated, and I love how the characters like pop out of the cards and their arms swing and they, breathe fire and whatever, I that's so fun. Like, I don't love the diamond card itself, but like the idea of them is just so cool. And it was something so new and unheard of before. When I I remember pulling up the patch notes and being like, what diamond cards? Like, what is this now? And kind of blew my mind. And so that was really fun for me. I like it. And then it's been great for them to kind of go back and pick some older cards to do diamonds of in past sets, and we get them for free, which has been awesome as well. So yeah, that's been fun. But I do have a bunch of runner-ups here that I'm going to jam through quickly. So the next one is not so much of a new feature, but I'm a big proponent of inclusivity, and I was really happy that when they released all of the mercenary characters that we see Vard and Dawngrasp introduced as our first non-binary hero using they, them pronouns. I just think it was really cool. I think it was really classy how they did it. They didn't turn it into a big political thing. They just added a new character who's really awesome, and I really like them. So I think that was cool. I like that a lot. One of the other huge things for me that just blew my mind was the addition of, or like the idea of these like secret quests to unlock mystery card backs that Celestalon programmed into the game. Like, you could unlock the mystery card back by completing this secret unknown objective that the Hearthstone community like collectively went together to solve. And and then someone will write a cheat sheet, and then we'll spend 2 hours trying to follow it, and then we mess up on the last step and have to redo it all. But like it was so like outside the box of what's normal for this game that I just thought it was really cool. I like that a lot. The last one for me was Mercenaries, just the mode. I think that the only reason I didn't prioritize this higher is like I really enjoyed it as a time killer, especially I spent a lot of time recovering from some medical stuff and like sitting in a recliner doing nothing, watching TV, and jamming mercs was great. I feel like it just needs so much more improvement still that it didn't quite make the cutoff for me, but I like the concept of it. It's really fun. I hate the economy of it. Like, I've dropped a bunch of money into it, and I don't feel like it was necessarily money well spent. But I enjoy it, and I think that was really cool. And I regret not picking a core set because I totally forgot about that. Anyways, Hydra. What? Let me pass that over to you.
So on the flip side, I actually put mercs towards the top here on the list, actually at the very top. Not because it right now is the best thing, but I feel like the team really did put a huge effort into this, and this mode has a lot of potential. And once you actually have, upgraded and maxed out all your characters, you can play that PvP, and you can get really into it, and you can find all the ins and outs of the comps and try to, really learn the meta and try to start countering it. And I think that that's really, really cool. And I think that that's something that when I first saw it, that's what I want to do. And at the beginning, when you're starting to, grind things and you're getting coins left and right, it didn't matter which coins you were getting, because you were everything was being maxed out. Mm-hmm. Like, all at once together, you open a pack or you get a reward from the end of doing one of the what do you call them? Just the runs that you do when you finish a run, right? And you get the bounty, coins at the end. Bounty. When you finish a bounty, you get coins. It didn't necessarily matter which ones you pulled at the end because you were ranking everything up. But once you guys realized, once you started, finishing off a lot of your mercs, it was really difficult to get those last few. Like, I ended up, I'm at a halt right now with 35 mercs maxed or something like that, or 40-ish. I can't remember but I stopped because I have, how many mercs are there? 52, something like that. And I'm 90% of the way. And it's really hard to just grind out those exact coins. Go do a bounty hoping you're going to get the coin, and then you don't roll the coin. And I don't want to just open packs and hopefully get the pack, the exact coins in the pack. And so that really wrecked it for me. So I never finished. I don't have them all maxed out because that time sink became too much. Now I'm hoping, I actually have unopened packs right now, hoping that they're going to hoping that they're gonna fix it, because we got a bunch of packs the last expansion or whatever, and they're just sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna open these because maybe they're gonna change the economy, and these packs are gonna prioritize the mercs that you don't have or don't have maxed out. So I really think that this mode has a lot of potential. That grind is just the problem for me. And I think it's an excellent mode with just an economy problem at the moment. But I appreciate all of the effort that has gone into it. And I would imagine if I did have everything maxed out, I'd be having a blast up on the ladder for it. But I don't. So I'm sort of sitting on it for the moment. But I really do appreciate all the effort that Blizzard Team 5 put into this mode.
Yeah, I will say, like, this is the first time I've ever taken a day off work for Hearthstone. Before was Mercs was coming out, and I just wanted to play it right away. You know, pre-ordered all the stuff and like just wanted to jam it. And I think we spent so much time the first month or two like maxing out. I remember like there was kind of this, you know, race to max out everything, and it was a lot of fun just to get kind of caught up in the hype of that. And it's really enjoyable. And the mode has so much potential. I really like it. It'll go somewhere, and I've kind of pressed pause on it. That being said, I do all the, you know, the campfire daily quests. I keep doing them. I'm not playing any PvP. I'm not really grinding them out, but like I'll do the dailies because they're free coins and free packs and stuff. And so, you know, we'll see at some point. But anyways, yeah. So what were your runner-ups?
So for my first runner-up, I picked the ability to fill out your collection when it comes to your hero portraits, because and your card backs, because I was missing a bunch, like a year's worth of card backs basically because I started the game in 2015. So I didn't have anything from 2014 and maybe the first couple months of 2015. And that always bugged me, that you go and you verse somebody and they've got that one card back that you always wanted and you can't get it. And I mean, it's really cool to be able to earn those in the first place and show them off, but it's a collectible card game.
Yeah.
Right? It's about collecting, and I know the three of us like having that stuff. So the first thing I did when I saw that I could get all the card backs is I just, whatever amount of gold I had at that time, it was like 5,000 gold worth of card backs.
Cha-ching.
It was a lot. I did too.
And I was like, and now I have them all. At least all the ones that people like us can get.
Yeah.
Meaning not having like the celebration and, you know, that sort of stuff. But it was really, really cool. And it's, yes, now I have that. We don't have this weird hole in our collection where we can never fill.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that was really cool. It's not something big in the game. Like, it's not this massive new mode or anything. It's just this, because it's not something that I don't think was difficult for them to do, right? It's this little quality of life. Here you go. You guys can have access to these now. And I think that was really cool of them. And it shows just more potential of things that they're willing to do in the game.
Yeah.
Which I really like. And my final runner-up, I only put this on the list because it's something that bugged the crap out of me and a lot of people too, is a buggy friends list.
That's such a good choice.
Like really everyone's names and ranks hopping around, and it just being like 3 people in a row are all ranked 25 legend on your friends list, and like you don't, like, it was just a huge mess. Like,
well, you couldn't even type to someone because the names they would jump around in different places, and so I go to click one, and then I'm clicked on the wrong one. But yeah, it
was horrible. I remember there was a time that Nate, Blue Train, and I were trying to play on EU together, but Blue Train didn't have Nate on EU, and it wouldn't let him add you, so he had to delete you on NA and then add you on EU, and then afterwards delete you on EU to put you back on NA.
I don't know, it's such a mess. Yeah.
It was just, it was just ridiculous. It ended up being, I don't know, not fun, and they fixed it, so I'm extremely grateful for that. Sheep, what did you pick for your faves?
Yeah, so for me, hands down, the winner is the core set. Having a rotating core set that like we can have access to is given us a larger influx of cards this year, obviously, for one, has helped diversify both wild and standard and will continue to do so for years to come. Of course, it's really good for free to play players and players on a budget, because that's you can earn all of the things, and you can even earn them in gold, which is awesome. Yeah.
Well, and
so it's
a lot of those cards, like we use them in so many decks too, and so it's great. And being that we got them all for free, I think the only turmoil that is potentially brewing is what happens when it all rotates. Like, please let us keep them. Please, ship them off to Wild. But yeah, I forgot all about it. We take them for granted, but some of the cards in that set are so good,
right? Yeah, like it really is easy to overlook how impactful it was and will be. But to me, hands down, it's quietly the most impactful change that they made last year. Just huge. My first runner-up was initially the rewards track, but Nate reminded me that happened the year previous in November of 2020 with Madness at the Dark Moon Fair. So,
it was pretty
shout
broken
outs
at
to the
first,
rewards
though.
track.
But I will say
better after.
they drastically improved it in the new year. Like when it first launched versus where it is now, it's much better. So I do think that there's I don't know, it's valid.
Yeah. Shout outs to late 2020, but this is a 2021 recap. So the first runner up for me then is unlocking old card backs and hero portraits with gold. So while I personally hadn't missed any old hero portraits, there were a large number of card backs that I missed because either they came out before I was playing or right after I started playing, because when I started playing, I was an exclusively casual gamer. So I wasn't getting up to rank 20. I wasn't even playing ranked because, that was, so intimidating to me at first. Whenever I very first started playing, I was like, I don't care about rank. Like, I just want to play the game. They have like real decks, and I didn't. So now actually being able to unlock the content that newer players may have missed, that I missed, or content like with the hero portraits that was previously paid, with monies and can now be purchased with in-game currency, was just a huge turnaround there. So that was my runner-up. And runner-up number 2 is Mercenaries. So Mercenaries, incredible game mode. It needs some work, which is why it's runner-up number 2 and not like the winner. We jammed it all like crazy. It was incredible. And then a little bit of the grind got, at the very least for myself, got to me, but mostly the economy. Like I can't get things that because I was one of the first people to max everything out, period. Like I jammed that hard and spent more money than I should have. And now like getting things maxed out later just takes so long. And it's just like, I haven't even been doing my dailies or weeklies or what dailies really in Mercenaries, because I just kind of like have been playing the other game modes still there. And like, I still will dive back into it, especially once they fix the economy. And I believe that they will. Yeah. But they're not there yet. So that's why it's a runner-up 2 for me. Just because right now it's not really something that I think that I will engage in until it's fixed. Once it's fixed, I hopefully will be saying that is one of the best things that they did in 2022 when we're talking about 2022 this time next year in that recap. So
nice.
Yeah. So that is it for me there, Nate.
All right. So Oh, sorry. I was gonna say that. Yeah. Okay. So the next topic is, what is the craziest thing to happen in Wild Hearthstone in 2021? So for me, this was an easy answer. It was the first ever Wild banned card, like unprecedented in the format. Never happened before. And then over the course of the past year, 2 cards were banned in Wild. and they were both Warlock cards. So if the first one up was Stealer of Souls, which enabled a just crazy OTK combo with Wretched Tiller and the other card, I can't recall the name off the top of my head, that gave your thing invulnerability, and it was so easy to pull off that it broke the format, and quickly the devs were like, nope, yeah, that's just not going to work. And we were all kind of wondering, like, how are they going to fix this? And they were just like, you know what, banned, can't play it. And just like, whoa, wait, what? Never done it before. And then even bigger for me was the Demon Seed, which took a lot longer for them to ban, but that they ended up using that same solution. It was just kind of unprecedented for the format, and so now I think people are know that that's a possibility. If something becomes too much of an issue, rather than reworking the whole card, they can just say, yeah, you can't play it in that format. And so everything has changed a little bit. And so for me, that was kind of the craziest moment. Hydra, what about you? I
completely 100% agree. It's something that we haven't seen in the game. It's got to be bans for me. The fact that we talk about in Wild as Wild players that, they don't care about the format, letting it rot kind of thing. Whatever goes there, and that's just how it's going to be. But they've proven that that's not always the case, right? They do want to let Wild be Wild. They've stated that many times. But when things cross the line, they have shown that they're willing to act, and not just by nerfing something that just like, you know what, this is too messed up. It's just gone. And the fact that they actually did it, like, I couldn't believe it. The very first one was Stealer of Souls when it happened. And in my head, the first thing I thought of is what else are they gonna ban, right? Like, did they just like open a gate to banning whatever they want now? Like, what's gonna happen? Is this a one-time thing? But now it's happened twice. They're obviously doing it very sparingly, but they're doing it. So for me, the fact that they could pull these cards completely out of our format because it was breaking it, to me, hands down, that wins. Sheep, what do you think? What's your craziest thing to happen in Wild Hearthstone 2021?
Yeah, so for me, I think it's probably the kind of massive amount of animation cheating going on right now, right? Particularly, obviously, with Ignite Mage.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I think that we should be able to turn animations off because, whenever I'm just like trying to play on my phone, it really does slow things down and I don't have as much time. On the other hand, we can't do that thing in client. So the people who are doing that thing and like taking a deck that is semi-viable if you have, like Nate was saying way earlier in the show, have that Zoomer APM, or not playing on mobile, right? Then maybe you can possibly do it, but it turns it from like maybe possibly like if you just like APM it down to, you can just do it pretty easily. So I think that is something that is kind of hit a kind of inflection point in 2021. And I think that now in 2022, we'll probably see some sort of kind of repercussion for that, be it, the in-game client, be it ways that they end up like keeping people from blocking the animations, whether they introduce a, remove animation button into the game, I think we'll see some sort of a reaction, but it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for all of the cheating that is currently happening in our format in particular. So we haven't yet seen the repercussions of it. It's still a thing now in 2022, but 2021 is when it kind of hit that inflection point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, and we've seen in the past, APM is always going to be a thing. We've seen it in Priest decks. We saw it in Snip Snap and a handful of other things. And it's like, okay, I think it's interesting. I always love watching people do these crazy combos, but like, it's infuriating that like when the rope has been finished burning for a minute and a half and you're just sitting there still getting fireball, and it's like, okay, enough. So yeah, we'll see, and I think, I have to wonder, like, will we ever see Sorcerer's Apprentice, like, get hit? Maybe. That would just change the entire format, right? So I don't know.
It would be simultaneously great and, kind of like the end of an era, right?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Anyways, all right, moving on. The next topic here is, what is the best hero portrait released in 2021? And again, this is very subjective. There were so many that came out, especially with the release of the Tavern Pass, because if you paid for the rewards track version of it, you unlock a whole bunch of extras, and then with the Book of Mercenaries and the Book of Heroes, we had a whole bunch come out, and just there's tons. I had a incredibly difficult time even figuring out which ones came out. I had to Google them to make sure I had the dates right. And so picking one is incredibly difficult. If I only had to pick one, I choose Ragnaros. The Shaman hero portrait. This was it was released as part of the Eternal Flame bundle back in July of 2021. Ragnaros has been a favorite of mine for ages. I've always loved the card. It's awesome. I will never forget my disappointment when the Fellfire thing came out and they released the artwork for Fellfire Ragnaros. It looks like Rag, but was all green and metal and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for this card. And then they just never released it. And I was like, what? Why? What happened? And so when I saw the whatever was called the Fellfire or the fire events going on during that summer, and then Ragnaros Tiki Lord came out for Battlegrounds, and then they released Ragnaros as a shaman portrait, all over it. So that was a snap pick for me. Just so cool. If I had to, that being said, the Fire Festival, the skins that they released, all the fire themed ones that came out, I loved all of them. The Druid of the Flame one was awesome. The Rexar ones are awesome. The Paladin one with the flaming book is awesome. I was sad that they didn't release them for the entire batch, because they're so cool.
There's always this year, Nate.
Hey,
Yeah.
You know what? I you probably have a good point there. The other ones that I really liked actually were the mech theme skins that came out not too long ago. Those were, it's they were so far out of left field. I never expected to see that, opening up the client and seeing, Iron Man Garrosh. It's what? What is going on there? It was crazy. And I really enjoy the idea that they're not bound within a specific box. They're willing to do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Gundam Stone.
Yeah, there we go. But the other one for me that I just love is Snow Flipper Rexar, aka Nipple Ring Rexar. It's so awesome for so many reasons. The Matt Dixon art is great. The Snow Flipper penguin, animating on the portrait. He's got the mistletoe up on his forehead, and it defies logic, and I love it. It's funny and intimidating all at the same time. And I love that one. So that was my runner-up was Snow Flipper Rexar. Anyways, Hydra, what about you?
That's definitely a solid pick. When I was going through all these, the first things that were catching my eye were all the mech ones, because they're so cool, right? And so I was having a hard time, picking, and I was wanting to choose from there. But then the lighter side of me really got me, and I have to go with Frog Prince Thrall. From the
I like that one. It's fun.
It's the fairy tale collection.
Right.
And it's just, I just love it how he's just sitting there. Everyone else seems to get these cooler card hero portraits, and he's just sitting there and he doesn't even look happy. He's just sitting there grumpy, and he's got these frogs on him. Right?
Yes, it's
just
great.
This is what I got. I got Frog Prince. Thanks. Right? And yeah, so I had to go with that just because the humor in it's great, and I like one of the reasons I like this game so much is that it takes itself not so seriously. It when it comes to actual card design and balance and stuff. Yes, it does, but the humor in it is just so hilarious. It's when I first started playing the game and I saw this leper gnome that was going, "Give me a big frog. Like I was sold, right? Like to me, that's just hilarious. And so something like this, the Frog Prince Thrall, has a like special place in my heart. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree. No, and that's kind of what sold me on it too. Is it's so whimsical, and I started playing I think during Naxxramas, and I'll never forget doing the individual missions and like hearing the commentary from Kel'Thuzad. I hear the next boss is very scary and very handsome, and I was like just cracking up. It was so good. And the lines from the Lich King were some of the best I've ever heard in the when the Frozen Throne solo content came out. And like I love that it doesn't take itself very seriously, and it's like a mix of like adventure and serious and funny, and like it's great.
Yeah.
I feel icky.
So for a runner-up, I just picked all the Guffs, just because I feel like ever since we played Guff in the adventure, like just the voice lines and everything, they're so hilarious. Just because he's this fun-loving kind of dumb guy, and just so I couldn't pick which Guff, but all the Guffs. I got nothing really more to say on it, just all the Guffs.
Yeah. The voice lines are so great for Guff. Can we be friends? Or like, they're just so funny. I love them. Oh,
yeah, man. He's so affable. He's glorious.
Agreed. Okay, Sheep, what did you pick here for your favorite hero portraits of 2021?
Yeah, so my absolute favorite is Skullbearer Illidan. So, it's the Illidan who's like holding the Warlock skull, the Skull of Gul'dan, and just it looks so cool. It's like because I don't have the 1K portrait for Demon Hunter yet. I'm about 100 wins away, and it's just like until I do get that thing, that's just kind of always in there as my favorite Demon Hunter portrait. Like it's just such a cool one, and it's every time I see him do that, I just think, alas, poor Yorick, because it's the Hamlet reference that he always does in general. So
right,
for me, the winners is Skullbearer Illidan. I've been playing a lot of Demon Hunter, so that's probably part of it too. So I see a lot of him. The runner-up for me is probably Frost Fairy Jaina. It just like is so.
How did they not get sued by Disney for that? Like it's like
right?
So close. I when my son saw me playing, he's like, how is there a Frozen character in Hearthstone? What happened there? Are they doing a crossover or something? And I was like, no, it just is.
It's just that. Yeah, it's Elsa. It's a fair. She's a fairy, like ice princess thing. The one that I was using for mage a lot before that was the one from the rewards track. That looks all like ethereal and ice queen, but like that one's more the like y'all were talking about earlier with the whimsical like Hearthstone feel. Mm-hmm. The new Jaina, the fairy, Frost Fairy Jaina, just like has that so much more. So that's my runner-up is Frost Fairy Jaina for those reasons.
Nice, I like it. All right, the next one up is what is the best card back released in 2021? And there are about 30, probably about 30 of them, maybe more. And I regret for the folks of you watching live on Twitch or on YouTube, I don't have them pulled up on the screen. There's just too many. And so, they're on Out of Cards, they're on Hearthstone, they're on the wiki and wherever else, you can see them. They're amazing. I love them. I think the artists are incredible. It's so difficult to pick one. So this was tough. And again, there's at least probably 30 to 40 that came out over the past year. So not only do we get one released as a reward each month, but then they started adding them to the rewards track, and then they added them to these pre-release bundles, and we get them through the different bundles sometimes when they release a portrait or whatever else. Plus we had the secret ones that came out and all that stuff. And so it was tough. Anyways, my personal favorite is the Stormwind card back. That's the it's the one, how to describe it? It's like a silver border, but it's got the two lions on either side of it that are kind of blocky, and it's got the gold kind of filigree. I love the blue and gold contrast. I love kind of the blocky style of the carved out lions. Like, it's just so cool. That was a favorite of mine for a long time. Like, it's so hard to choose because these are all awesome. I mean, they're so cool. The more you look at them, like every time you look at one of these, like I'll see a new detail that I missed last time. And I love the, I don't think I'll ever switch off of the random card back for that reason. Like, I like seeing them so much. It's always fun to see, like, what am I going to get next? So that was the pick for me. But that was a difficult one. I mean, I don't know. Hydra, what do you think? What was yours?
So for me, for the card backs, I chose the Mysteries of the Phoenix and Gift of Elune. I kind of putting them together because they're the ones that we got from doing those secret challenges, and they're both gorgeous.
These are these are the secret challenge ones.
Yeah, the secret challenge ones. And so I picked them for two reasons. Because mostly though, because of how cool it was to get them. Right? Like, this is something that you had to really work for, and it was that first time thing that was in the game, and it was just so fun to do. And I'm really hoping that they do more of this going forward. And plus the art is great on both of them. They both look great. I really enjoyed the Mysteries of the Phoenix one. I actually have kept it as my main for quite a while, just because it looks so cool and it goes with a lot of, I don't know, I like to play more like red heroes and stuff, or golden stuff and whatnot, and it goes with golden things, so maybe that's why.
There you go.
It like sort of matches. I'm like, what goes with my deck right now? This card is very shiny and gold. Let's pick that one. But I just think it was so creative as to how we actually attained these. So Mystery of the Phoenix and Gift of Elune for sure. Sheep, how about you?
Yeah, so to the surprise of probably no one, it's a hard choice because there's so many good ones. But if I'm gonna have to go with one, I will go with Carved Autumn. So that was the November monthly reward. That is my go-to card back for my favorite hero portrait, which is Dame Hazelbark. So it's like a carved out like wood with a couple of like leaves that are just like autumny, like curling, and everything is the wood tones and just incredible. So Carved Autumn has got to be the one, since I'm playing Dame Hazelbark a lot. I play with the Carved Autumn card back a lot because I go through, anytime I make a deck, I choose a hero portrait, I choose a card back, like I make them either match with the theme of the deck or the theme of the, hero portrait, and make it kind of synergize like that. Like, I have a lot of fun with it. It's one of those little like things that you can do to, just kind of add that flavor to it. And that's one of the things I do.
Have you ever forgotten to do that, and you started a game and you're playing, like this deck, everything you have is red, and then suddenly you have a blue card back and you're like, no, what have I done? Next game, I'm going to change it. You cue your next game. I forgot again.
I have.
10 games in a row and you forget every time.
I don't know that I've done 10 before, but yeah.
That's great.
So for me, too, the runner-up is the Urel card back. So that's one of the ones from the Stormwind Tavern Pass that essentially was meant to go with the Urel Paladin hero portrait.
It's really cool.
I use it with a lot of things. It's way underrated. Like, it just looks so cool. It's simple, but it's elegant, and it just like looks so good with all the things. It's one of those like card backs. So Urel is my runner up there. A highly underrated card back. Nothing like super flashy or fancy, just really solid, really good card back.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I totally forgot to add this here, but I love the Celeste Dragon Mage portrait. So cool.
Yes.
So cool. Like, I never thought I'd get a dragon as a portrait. And so it's like, oh, are we doing this now? Okay. All right. I'm down with this. Like, give me more, please. So yeah. Anyway, sorry. I got distracted here. All right.
There are worse things.
Oh, for sure. Hey, we're better about it now than we used to be. All right, so we're gearing up to kind of towards the end here. Final couple of questions. These are a little bit more personal, and so the current one is: what is your best personal Hearthstone accomplishment from 2021? Looking back for me, this year has been a blast. I started hitting Legend every month in Wild back in April of 2020. Well, time flies. But this is the first full year that I've hit Wild Legend every single month without breaking. Like, I've done it every single month. It's fortunate to have this great spreadsheet made by our friend Sheep over here that I've been using to track, what deck I used and what, who made it and what day I hit and what rank and the whole deal. And so I was able to do it every month the entire year. Back in July of 2021, I got 11x for the first time, which was like just so cool, blew my mind. And then I was able to keep it for 5 consecutive months until this past month in December was when I lost it, which was really no surprise to me. I was having so many medical issues and kind of barely playing that, like, I let my rank slip enough to lose it, which was sad because I was like in the mid 300s and lost it, which was like, but I think everyone was kind of on like fatigue, the new set hadn't come out yet and everyone had, there was not as many people playing. And so when there's a lot of people playing, like you're safe, but when the numbers are lower, like you have to do better. That being said, it was just still an awesome accomplishment that I was really happy with. And then this past month in December, for the very first time, I hit double legend, a legend in both wild and standard for the first time, which was hooray! Yay!
Yeah, nice.
Never done that before. My bonus in standard was 9x in standard. So that was a lot of fun. And well, the crazy thing I think in standard is that the final push was Face Hunter, but like that was starting at Diamond 2. I played everything under the sun to get there. A whole bunch of Demon Hunter, a whole bunch of Shaman, a whole bunch of Mage, like a bunch of Pirate Warrior, like a ton of stuff. And so I just felt like, wow, like it's all so viable. And like I've kind of felt like I could hit it with whatever. It just get good at the game and put in the time. And like, okay, like the final 6 games were Hunter. Yeah, I played a ton of Quest Hunter. I went on this like crazy win streak. I got a list from Sidisi and went like, I want to say like 8-0 with Quest Hunter and just streaked up. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
It's not a good deck. Don't play it. It's good and wild. But anyways, yeah, it was a good year for me. And my best rank to date was 33 Legends. So I'll see if I can beat it this year, I guess. Hydra, what about you?
Yeah, so for me, this is actually a bit of a love-hate thing, but so it's the playing on the 3 servers the entire year. But I'm proud that I stuck with it. Towards the end of the year, I was kind of leaving the quest alone a bit, but the fact that I would at least consistently hit D5 or higher the entire time and would hold in at least the 9x stars throughout the entire time, even though it would get taxing at sometimes and you didn't really want to do it. When I was first doing it, I was really, really excited about it and was just like doing, and then eventually it was like, okay, it's getting a bit much. But I was proud that I actually did it the entire time. I think I dropped one time once on one of the accounts, but other than that, I did it the whole time.
That's incredible.
Astonishing.
3 servers at the same time is like, I don't know how you do it. It's amazing. I don't think I have the bandwidth or the patience for that matter, but I'm very proud of you. I like that. That's great.
I think that the one thing that it does though is splitting up your attention on 3 servers doesn't let you achieve a single server goal. So I don't know where to take this for what I want to do in the future, but for now, I'm gonna say holding that across the 3 servers for the entire year was quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Sheep, what about you? Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, probably the crowning achievement is probably hitting day one legend for the first time in my Hearthstone career. That was, gosh, when was that? I digress. That's probably my, biggest accomplishment of last year. Kind of the more cumulative accomplishment is hitting legend in both wild and standard all 12 months.
Wow.
That's one of those, like, I was looking at my spreadsheet like, wait, I know I did it consistently, but all year. So that was pretty cool. Learning a lot, learning a different meta for both formats, so the changing metas. It's been a really fun adventure there. I'm pretty sure that my 11x finishes were in late 2020 rather than early 2021, but they may have been early 2021. So I'm mentioning it because maybe there was one one season where I had 11x in both standard and wild. And that was like, that felt really cool. And that may have been like January or February of this year. So that was the flex there, like Nate was doing for sure. So that felt really cool. I'm going to call it 2021 because this is the 2021 recap. That was January.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Our last question here is just what are our personal Hearthstone goals for 2022? And I think this could be different for everybody. It's like, what do you want out of the game? For me personally, like, I'm looking to grow. I just want to be better. When Craig and I started Born to Be Wild or Into the Wild, like ages ago, like the whole point of it was just to get better at the game, and I think that's kind of been my goal all along. Like, I want to learn from people who are better than me and just continually improving, and that's my goal going forward, is just to keep getting better. I love getting the 11x. I mean, there's some pros and cons. I think that the matchups are definitely a lot harder, and there's sort of less incentive to play because you potentially can lose it. But it's also, it's more of a challenge. I think for me, now that I got this taste of this double legend, like, I want it. I want to keep doing it. And as long as the meta's fun, I would love to keep, hitting legend in both wild and standard. And of course, like, I will always prioritize wild. This is my place. These are my people. But hitting legend and standard, I'm going to try to do both each month and just see what happens. I'm not going to make unreasonable expectations or anything, but I'll give it the good old college try. So we'll see what happens. That's my goal. That's my goal for the coming year. Hydra, what about you?
I believe in you.
I think that's a really good goal. So my goal sort of plays off of my achievement for this last year. I don't know how far I want to take it, but since I was just hitting like the D5 on all three servers the entire year, I'm not going to say that I want to up that on all three servers across the year, but I started this month off in January with 1 10x and 2 9x's. And I want to at least once start off the month with triple 10x. Just like one time, I want to do it. Get like triple legend across the three servers. Don't need to do it the whole year. That seems insane, but I want to do it at least once. And I think can be a bit of a gradual goal. I can kind of like work into it. But that's the goal. I want to do it at least one time that I said I've done it. And then I don't need to do it ever again.
I believe. I'm sure you could do it. I like that.
Yeah, if anyone can, you can. You've had the dedication to balance all three, and free to play on two of them for the longest time. I believe that you can get 10x on all three.
Oh yeah,
you got it.
I really appreciate that, and I think one of my downfalls is not a downfall, but what I'll do is I'll push for that D5 like right at the beginning of the month on one of the servers, and then I'll just leave it the whole time. I'll only log in and just do my daily quests to complete my reward track, and I'll think to myself, I've got the rest of the month left, like, why not? And I'm like, right? So like, and then at the end of the month comes, I'm like, oh, I should grind for legend. I got 3 days left, and then don't make it. And then like, well, man, you had like 25 days. Like you could have done it, right? So I think that's my goal, is to at least once triple on all three. So that's the plan.
Yeah,
Sheep,
you got this.
what's your goal?
So my goal, first and foremost, is to get the 1K hero portrait for all 10 classes. I'm already at 9 of them, so I've got a bit of a head start. I just need the 10th. I'm a little over 100 wins away from having the Demon Hunter one as well, so should just be kind of a final push. I kind of go through spurts in playing Demon Hunter. I imagine it'll happen at some point this year, but that's probably my first one, because that's one of those big kind of cumulative check marks. Continue hitting Legend in both Wild and Standard. I don't know if I want to commit to doing it all year again, but being consistent with it, even if not missing a month or two here or there. In one format or another. And then kind of the most lofty goal, and, probably the most unattainable, but, who knows, is to innovate on decks and hopefully have like one of my archetypes be the accepted like standard like list for something.
Murabi Shaman.
Maybe. No. I basically just took someone's free shaman and slid Murabi in there, so that was a little bit of a cheat, TBH. But maybe that'll be for something like aggro druid. Maybe it'll be for something that's a new archetype. Maybe just that one has a lot of RNG on it. Based on what's good in the meta, what I happen to be really good at kind of evaluating. So that's not one that I'm committing to, but it's a goal, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm going to hope to do. So I've been refining my deck building, hopefully in a more competitive kind of slant, a more competitive eye towards that deck building, rather than just the things that are like fun and just like scratch the Timmy itch. Hopefully trying and been developing my deck building, scratching the spike itch as well. So hopefully I'll get there at some point. If not, at the very least, I will have improved my deck building, which is, I think at the end of the day, the real goal. Like that's the quantifiable thing, but the skill development is what I really want to do. That's just the kind of the proof of that skill development.
For sure.
So
I like that. It's a good goal, Sheep.
I like it too.
Thank you.
Very nice. Well, it's exciting to kind of hear, all of our thoughts, reflect on the past year and see what we've done. I know, especially, with like all the COVID stuff, we've made a lot of changes in the show. We've all had health issues and just like, it's been a crazy year, and sitting back to reflect on it, it's easy to, forget the awesome things. And so it's nice to look back and see, wow, it really has been a good year, aside from, some of the not so good, but I love wrapping it up with the accomplishments and the goals. I think it's a blast, and I like hearing it. I love hanging out with y'all, and I think that Friday nights doing the show is always my favorite thing of the week and what I look forward to, and so very excited for an awesome 2022.
Yeah.
Speaking of awesome 2022, I'm going to use this as a segue because our season 4 listener series starts next week. Sheep, if you could please tell us a little bit about what is in store there.
Absolutely. So, as you intimated, the listener series season 4 starts next week. Starts on Sunday is the official go time. So Sunday. So signups are still available until the weekly system maintenance time. So that is, of course, 10 a.m. Pacific on Sunday, so noon Central, whenever we do the system maintenance. That's when I will be doing the pairings and all of that good stuff. So for those of you who may not be familiar or miss last season's listener series, the Born to Be Wild listener series is a free Wild Hearthstone tournament series with custom deck building restrictions each and every week. The regular season lasts for 5 weeks, followed by 3 weeks of playoffs, so the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. For additional information and how to sign up, check out the website, borntobewildhs.com. In the Born to Be Wild Listeners Series Discord server, I just now posted that the spreadsheet for Season 4 is in fact live. So this has the regular season's challenges for every single week. Like normal, pairings will be on the Sunday that kicks the week off, like I mentioned earlier. Last season, we had 2 season-long bans, which were Gin and Baku. This season, we've expanded our season-long ban list to also include Ice Block, Defend the Dwarven District, Raid the Docks, and just because it's banned in the format, the Demon Seed, I guess I should say, and Stealer of Souls, because you can't play that either. But those last 2 are just kind of bans by default. So sign up. The challenges are there on the spreadsheet. And on Sunday, we will have our pairings for the first week. We look forward to another great season. It's going to be a blast. Some of the challenges this season are really cool. All of our challenges were submitted by the community. We, curated them a little bit, but yeah, it's a completely community kind of grassroots organized and completely community-based tournament. No buy-in or anything like that. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, sign up today.
Yes, absolutely. Cannot wait. And just one final notice that we typically will attempt to cast like a featured match each week. That it's just a lot of fun to get to cast and comment on matches and watch these people play live. It's just an absolute blast. So yeah, if you're interested at all, please check out the website and we'd love to have you join. Cool. Hey, the last thing that we have is the weekly listener challenge. Again, we had taken the past couple weeks off for the holidays, but where we left off, the challenge that we had was giant Kurtrus attack. And so I'd been playing a lot of Demon Hunter, and with the new hero card, the what's it called? The Kurtrus Demon Bane or whatever it's called. Was to beat my high score for attack, which was 30 attack without a weapon equipped. And so yeah, can you beat my high score without using a weapon, get the highest attack with the Kurtrus hero? Can you beat my top score of 30? Our winner from the Discord is Sanosuke, who obtained an attack of 42, which is absolutely incredible. Yeah. They linked us the HS replay to watch the full thing, and it's absolutely incredible. And not only did they top my top score, they topped it by 12, which is amazing. So congrats to Sanosuke. Great work. Love to see it. Happy to get this giant Kurt attack here. So well done. We'll reach out to you via Discord. You will be receiving 2 packs of your choice on us. And yeah, love to see it. Hope that you continue to participate in future challenges. So very well done. Very well done. This week's challenge, we came up with on the fly, is a little bit of a reunion challenge, if you will, and very excited for the idea of it. This one seems a lot of fun. Sheep, can you explain it for us?
Absolutely. So this week's challenge is sheep, wolves, and hydras. Oh my. The goal of this week's challenge is to get as many sheep, wolves, and hydras on the board as possible, including both your and your opponent's boards, right? So as many different sheep, wolves, and hydras, if multiple of them have pants, because of the Kazakus potion, that's fine. That, still counts for the raw number, but the tiebreaker for number 1, of course, is how many different iterations of sheeps, wolves, and hydras, and there are myriad of each. You can get. The second tiebreaker is raw stats, and if you happen to have to face someone else doing this challenge on casual or ranked, but I don't recommend that one for this one in particular, then the third tiebreaker is stats on your side of the board. So as usual, how to participate. Challenges can be played in casual or on ladder. Like I said, I don't recommend ladder for this one, but Shmoopy Daddy might possibly do that thing, just knowing him. So the places this cannot be undertaken is against a friend or against the innkeeper or any of the other PvE content
solo
there.
stuff.
Yeah. So a friend will help you win. The PvE content will unintentionally help you win. So we don't want you to tank your rank, so you don't have to do it on ladder. But we don't want to, just have someone who's teeing it up for you to knock it out of the park. So once you've achieved your goal, your accomplishment, take a screenshot and post it in our Discord in the Weekly Challenges channel. The winner will be announced on next week's show, just like Sanosuke earlier today, and will receive 2 Hearthstone packs on us. Most importantly, the winner will also be immortalized in the Hall of Fame on the Born to Be Wild website. So check it out. We look forward to seeing as many sheeps, wolves, and hydras as you possibly can make. I can't wait to see all of them.
It was such a great idea.
Agreed. We were all just sitting there trying to figure out, what should we do? We need a challenge. And this one is just golden.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Very, very cool. Well, that wraps it up for this week's show. Thank you so much to everybody who is here watching live on Twitch and interacting with us in chat. Thank you so much to everyone watching this down the road on YouTube or listening to it on an audio podcast. Really appreciate it. For more wild content, to see us where you can find us individually, please check out our website. It's www.borntobewildhs.com. I do not have a topic yet for next week's show, but we'll come up with one. And I'm excited to be back in 2022, and we have so many fun things in store for you. So again, thank you so much for joining us. See you all next week on another new episode of Born to Be Wild.